Instagram True Hot 30. Let's get to the presentation. This is Who is Lucifer? I'm gonna break down all the different meanings: the Wicked King, Saint Lucifer, the Morning Star, and the esoteric meaning. So I'm showing the Bible like I've been showing that it's different layers in it and how all these things got into the Bible to be. Because you have to understand history and translation, influence, and invasions and conquering. I always tell people. All right, let's get to the slides. Let's get to Isaiah. This is the verse that people use a lot to try to say that it was about a being that fell from heaven. Okay, let's go to this verse. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Heaven, which means sky. How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend to heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Now, people with limited understanding of how they spoke and history and translation would think that this is a being that's talking about going into heaven. And me as a Christian, I've heard it before of he tried to take over heaven and he was thrown down. But no, this is about a king who wanted to be worshipped just as much as God. He don't have to ascend to heaven. What he's meaning, I want to be worshipped and be more just as powerful as God on here on earth, that people will bow to me. Now you say, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I don't. Let's go to the next verse that people don't really use. Okay, Isaiah 14:14 to 16. The wicked king that fell. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to earth, but a wicked ruler. All right, 14 to 16. This is the one they'll never go to. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms? Because back in the day, people look at these rulers as gods, and they try to portray themselves as gods. So when they seen this man fall, he fell from his grace, from the kingdom, and they looked and said, this is the man? This is the man that was locking all the prisons that wouldn't let us go. This is the man that tried to knock down the nations. This is the man that said he wants to be like God, but then he has fallen on his knees. Look at him, okay? Now, this goes to how Lucifer, the name, was put into the Bible. Meet this guy right here named Saint Lucifer. Because as we know in Isaiah, most people would tell you, most scholars would tell you that Lucifer was the king of Babylon, which we understand that his name wasn't Lucifer. So how did the name Lucifer get in the Bible? How Lucifer was put in the Bible through translation. A representative of Pope Liberius, Lucifer attended the Synod of Madeleinum Council of Malene in 355. There he defended Athanasius, the Bishop of Alexandria, who had been condemned for his opposition to Arianism. Arian theology holds that the Son of God is not co-eternal with God the Father and is distinct from the Father. The name Lucifer is that a saint named Lucifer, the monitor that many Christians use interchangeably with Satan. Turns out that Lucifer was not an uncommon name in Roman times, and his mention in the Bible was somewhat of a misunderstanding. Now, for my research of this, it was a guy named St. Jerome, and I guess they was beefing and it had something to do with politics. It's the same way they do now. When they argue with each other, what they do, they make ads about each other, making sure that people look at each other wicked, so one can win over top of the other. Now, let's meet the man who put it in there, who they say put it in there. St. Jerome made Lucifer a demonic being through translation now, because The way he put the name and the way they use these words, heaven and stuff, and then made later on made you believe that heaven was a place after death and Lucifer was a being. All this stuff was systematically put in for you to think this. Lucifer in Latin means light bringer, and the name was associated with the planet Venus. Lost in translation, scholars point to Saint Jerome, who translated the Bible into Latin from the original Hebrew and the ancient Greek for associating the name Lucifer with the devil. In the Vulgate Bible, Jerome translated Hebrew Hillel to Lucifer, light bringer. But in Isaiah, Lucifer is the king of Babylon who represented himself as the morning star. Venus, Isaiah 14, contains a taunt, a kind of ancient insult, song or poem against one of the oppressors of Israel. The king of Babylon explains Catholic.com. The king of Babylon fancies himself as something high and mighty like the day star itself, but God brings him low to the end. Now you see that? It's talking about the king of Babylon. So now you see that they put the king of Babylon saying that he was trying to be high and fail. Then through translations from a guy beefing with another guy, he put his name in it, which is Lucifer. So these are the two things, and these had two of these got mixed up into that. That's why I said through translation and through other things, this Bible have layers and layers and layers. Okay, now what is the morning star? Because Lucifer is known as the morning star. Morning star being Venus. Why is Venus called the morning star or the evening star? Venus shines so brightly that it is the first star to appear in the sky after the sun sets, or the last to appear before the sun rises. Its orbit's position changes, thus causing it to appear at different times of the night throughout the year. Okay? So this is what I would call, and I said a lot of them had was called astrology religion. They would take planets, they would take nature, planets, stars, all this stuff, and create deities with them. So now you see that the falling part of going up to high, falling down, is the king of Babylon. The translation of what the word they use comes from a man named Saint Lucifer, who in politics got his name used as wickedness, so the other one can win. The Venus is what you call the astrology worship that they did, taking deities from planets. Okay, so you're seeing that's three levels right there. Morning star and the Vulgate bringer of dawn. The Septuagint renders Greek as bringer of dawn, the ancient Greek name for the Septuagint, my bad, Septuagint. Bringer of dawn, the ancient Greek name for the morning star. Similarly, the Vulgate renders Latin as Lucifer, the name in the language for morning star. So now they're saying through the language, they use that name. So it all has different meanings. It's so deep because of the language, the influence, the translation, all this stuff can mean different things if you look at it from different eyes. And this is what I'm trying to get people to understand. That's why people can look at this and say, "Oh, Lucifer is this. No, Lucifer is this. Lucifer is the morning star. Lucifer is the king of bed." This is how it is because it's different layers. All of y'all not wrong. But when you put it all together, then you get the whole truth. All right. Now, this is what some scholars say. Shahar Dawn. This is what they say the dawn. This is what they say that part is coming from when it's talking about the dawn in the Bible. The Canaanite God. We can begin to translate the Old Testament to the Greek around 200 BCE, a version now known as the Septuagint. Jewish scholars assigned to the task came across this phrase in Isaiah 14:12, Hillel ben Shahar. Shahar was the Canaanite god of dawn. To this day, the word in Arabic for dawn is Sahar, and Hillel, the morning star, was his son. In Greek, the phrase became, well, you know that word's the Greek name. So this is telling you that they think that this could have been a Canaanite god that got put into the Bible too. So that's 4 layers now. 4 layers. The man, the king, the wicked king, Saint Lucifer, the Venus, the morning star of the dawn, which means what is the Canaanite god. Boy, it gets deep. Okay. All right. All right. Canaanite Israelite religion. Now I'm showing this because I'm showing how close the Israelite and Canaanite religion is. Every time I go into the history of it, I see a similarity between the both. Canaanite religion is a controversial term because the Bible and some religious scholars distinguish between Canaanite and Israelite religion. However, biblical and archaeology data suggests that Israelite religion was one local variety of a larger regional Canaanite religion. Canaanite religion is the religion of all peoples living on the eastern Mediterranean seaboard prior to the Common Era. The gods and the myths in this religion display some stable characteristics, yet evolve new details and changing divine relationships throughout the ancient times. So we all know when we went over there, we didn't kill the Canaanites. We actually got influenced. We actually started worshiping some of their gods. And some scholars say that we actually influenced them too. So that's what the argument over El is. Some say El was brought in by the Israelites. Some say Israelites took El from the Canaanites. Okay, the Gnostic mystery of Lucifer and esoteric meaning. I try to make this short as I can. I don't want to make it too long so people can really look at it and, not get bored or anything. I Madame Blavatsky claims of how Lucifer got in the Bible, and this is her claims, which is mysticism. She's part of the mysticism esoteric. Some esoteric, my bad. The name Lucifer is not a real name that appears in the Bible, but Latin version of the original word Halil, which means the shining one. The name Lucifer appears in the King James version of the Bible and is meaning light bringer is given it according to the Madame Blavatsky. It is Pope Gregory that made a connection between Lucifer and Satan when interpreting the only appearing mention of Lucifer in the Old Testament from a passage of Isaiah that says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, Lucifer, son of the morning," which was a passage criticizing the Assyrian king. So now this is somebody else that's saying the Assyrian king is who Lucifer is in the Bible. Now these are just, I'm going both sides of different arguments. That's what I do as a researcher, and that's what researchers do. You try to get all the information and put both sides. You don't just go one way. You don't go a biased way. You don't go with an agenda. Most people do, though. Jesus calling himself the morning star. I, Jesus, have sent my angel to give you the testimony for the churches. I am the root of the offspring of David and the bright morning star. Why would Jesus make a reference to himself as being the antithesis of God? Why would he be associated anyway with Lucifer? We can find an answer to this question in the teaching of Samuel Weir. Planet Venus is esoterically known as the planet of love, though as every planet has both positive and negative rays. We can discover that the negative side of Venus is the opposite of love. It is lust. So now we get into the esoteric part of what Venus is symbolically, which means love. So it's meaning turning your state from lust to love, from high to low, from heaven to hell. From hell to heaven. Okay, let's go. The light, illuminating and morning star. The light of lust is a false light that is mechanical and enslaving, whereas the light of love is true light that shines like a morning star, illuminating the way for initiates that thread the path. We can only make of it our guide when the transition is made from lust to love, because only then can we see its light illuminating the path in front of us and gradually illuminating and settling within our inner. The star is also known as the stellar Maris, the star of the sea, the beginning, the being Christ. So this is why he's saying he's the morning star that represents Venus, that symbolically represent love. So if you ask me, Jesus was part of mysticism. And if he was here today, you would call him esoteric. Okay, so y'all stop trying to use that word like it's wicked. All right, let's go to this. The Ark Hierophant. Now, P is going. I don't know how that happened. The Ark Hierophant. In one of the lectures, Samuel Onwera has said the following: that is Lucifer, but do not think in a anthro anthropo anthropomorphous archangel. Lucifer is very individual. Each one of us has a particular individual Lucifer. Lucifer is one of the aspects of our eternal being, and in truth is the most important one. I would say that the duplicate of the third logos is the ourselves, the shadow of Shiva, and the arch hierophant and arch magician, and the root of our actions, because it's one of the most important aspects of our beings, because he is the duplicate of our inner God. He fell in the darkness of this world and was transformed into the devil. So this is how you hear a lot of people say you was your higher self and you fell to your lower self. You was in heaven, you fell to hell. Stuff like that. This is what this means. That's the esoteric meaning of it. And what they do is they show beings, just like any other time. They show beings, and a being that falls, it's not talking about the character, it's talking about a fall of state, a fall of consciousness, sometimes subconscious, a fall of morals, being godly to being a devil. This is why certain people say you are God and a devil, because you can be either one. You could be wicked and evil. You could do evil and you could do good. Luciferic figure, the inner self. A painting by Nicholas Ruich shows a group of higher beings associated with various spiritual traditions sitting together in the Himalayas, and among them is a green-skinned Luciferic figure indicating that the darkness is used to further up the evolution of humanity. There are as many devils as humans being on the earth. Each one of us has his own devil, and this particular devil is black as coal, crystallized by the conductigator organ and the negative form and the fire of fertility, the Luciferic fire. Lucifer is in awkwardness, but he has the most excellent creature, not inside the being, but in ourselves. So this is showing different aspects of spirituality, and it's talking about the evolution of humanity spiritually, and how when we talk about like I said, inside ourselves, the Lucifer, the devils as humans inside ourselves, we become devils. That's like all these people out here shooting, killing stuff. They chose the evil. They chose the wickedness. They chose to be the devil. The people that's trying to get close to the Most High becomes godly, becomes a God on earth. You know what I'm saying? But society makes you think that money and riches was what make you God when it doesn't. Okay, let's go. Outro. So now I've shown that Lucifer is a man, a wicked king who fell, also a saint that was put in through translation, also broke down why he was called the morning star, and have shown the esoteric meaning of it. So y'all get into this stuff, man. Understand what y'all saying. Listen to what y'all saying. Study what y'all saying, because it could be deeper than what you think it is. Okay.